Welcome to the Hero Front Podcast, the 2022 Veteran Podcast of the Year winner. I'm your host, Josh White, and I talk with heroes around the world to inspire, educate, and to remind you that you are not alone. My own personal journey was marked by struggles like depression and alcoholism, which led me to almost lose my life. Now, after years of working on myself, I'm now blessed to say I have an abundance of pride and purpose, and I have made it my mission to share and spread these lessons by having insightful interviews with inspiring individuals, emphasizing trust, transparency, and meaningful conversation to drive positive action in our lives. Above all, I aim to inspire you to unleash your inner hero. We all have it in us, and it's time to bring it to the front lines of our lives. Let's get after it. What's up, everyone? Josh White here, and if you hear my kiddos hollering in the background, they're playing Among Us hide and seek, and they absolutely love it, and it's really funny to watch them freak out as they try to hide in this video game from this monster. Anyways, we have a very special episode, one that has been a long time coming, and that is with the famous Madi Cole. It's this young airman who hasn't been in that long, who seems to know the entire Air Force. But how is it possible? And how has it helped her? Well, I met her at the AFSA conference, and according to her, this conference was so powerful that it actually saved her life. And I thought that that story was worth capturing because this conference led her to the leaders she was missing in her life, the mentors that she was seeking. So, join us as we navigate the intricate terrain of military life, delving into challenges of networking, the nuances of mental health, and the essence of authentic leadership. Through candid conversations and poignant narratives, Madi Cole sheds light on the profound experiences and invaluable insights gleaned from her journey within the AFSA community. So together, let's unravel the complexities, embrace the vulnerabilities, and celebrate the triumphs of those who embody the spirit of service and sacrifice. Welcome to a riveting conversation that transcends boundaries and inspires us to chart our own paths towards growth, resilience, and authentic leadership. I'm so blessed to say that I got to have that episode with the legendary Madi Cole, and I know you're absolutely going to love it. We filmed it live at Black Rifle Coffee in Niceville, Florida. Shout out to them. Absolutely love that place. They turn the music down. Okay, I can't do them live if there's music in the background. And it's easier said than done, trust me. But they do it for me, and I want to give them the biggest shout out. Plus, their coffee is incredible. All right, y'all, without further ado, let's get after it. So, Maddie, this is a long time coming, this talk.
Yeah.
Right? We've been trying to do this for, I don't know, over a year.
Yeah, it was, let's see, last
It was
AFSA.
a year, it was a year this in August.
Yep, last AFSA.
So a year and 4
yeah.
months.
Mm-hmm.
We've been trying to do this. And I met you at AFSA.
Which is crazy because we're stationed at the same base.
Right, and that's why I recognized you though.
Yeah.
I've seen you around. I've seen you in photos, so I knew you were from Eglin, when I saw you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll never forget meeting you because I've never seen an airman know all these people that you knew, and I thought, man, that's impressive. Like when I was an airman, I remember meeting the command chief, and I literally couldn't talk. And he was like, "Okay, then," and moved on to the next airman, and I was like. Words just did not come out. I don't know. I can't explain it. But we're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about networking. And I picked that topic because I've seen you really excel at that. And I feel like it does create a good circle of friends and relationships and just a better overall experiences, especially when you go back to AFSA.
Yeah, I think it also helps with just trying to get other perspectives with like certain things you're going through, because not your direct line of leadership doesn't always understand you as well as other people.
Right. So like sometimes you're stuck with folks who don't appreciate you or just
Yeah.
It's just not a good fit. And instead of just living in that world, you can go elsewhere, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about mental health and resiliency, and there's a story behind that as well. But first, we have to do the Hero's Gauntlet, 3 random questions. And my first question for the Hero's Gauntlet before we start is, you have a lot of mentors, you've networked like crazy, you know all these people. Who's been the biggest mentor in your life out of that huge pool of hundreds of people?
That's a big one. I'm gonna say Tech Sergeant Jerry Tamayo.
Oh, honor guard.
Yeah, he has impacted my life so drastically that I don't know, there's so many things that I've gone through and vented to him and just try to get a perspective from a higher person, because you don't always understand at an airman level what is going on. And he has impacted my life probably the most.
Wow. What is one attribute about Sergeant Tamayo that really helped you?
His directness.
His directness.
He's very direct on what. How can I put this? Oh man, this is.
It sounds like he's just not afraid to speak his mind.
Yeah, he's very direct on what his opinion is, and I respect that because I'm also very direct, and I appreciate his honesty and how he feels about a situation.
Yeah.
I think that he's not afraid to lead, and I think he's a fantastic leader. So
yeah, I love the guy too.
He's amazing.
And that right there is why I miss honor guard, because I had so many. I never had talks like that really before. I only had a few airmen, and then in honor guard, of course, there's a lot.
Yeah.
And I had so many talks. I had so many opportunities to intervene and help someone. I do miss that part of it. I know he does too.
Oh yeah, he misses it every day. Guarantee you.
When you come back to your career field after special duty, your world gets incredibly small.
Yeah, you're not important.
Right, so you saw this whole other mission, this whole other purpose. You're talking with all these senior leaders, and then you're back in a cubicle, fixing PowerPoints and Excels.
Yeah, freaking typing away.
So the special duty program is what is leading me to retire, right? Which is not the point of it.
No.
But it worked too well. Right?
Yeah.
It showed me what I was good at and what I love, to the point where I'm not going to accept anything else now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I think there's also a disconnect. They put you in such an important position and expect you to do such an important job, and then they throw you back into your career field where you weren't important, where you weren't seen, where nothing you did mattered to a degree, if that makes sense. And
they don't want to hear the stories. They don't care about
They don't care about that, but also you were a direct impact to the mission when you were in a special duty. Direct impact. You were honoring lives, saving lives, bringing people in the military, teaching people how to be a military member. You were impacting the mission directly, and you could see it. But whenever you go back into your career field, so me, personnel, I go back after burying 100 people or so, and I'm expected to type up 2096 to update someone's, AFSC or something like that. Or I'm expected to work CMS cases or my eval or my DAX, and it's all I'm doing is approving things or updating things. I'm not impacting a mission to the point where I can see it and feel it.
Right.
So it's hard.
You get a taste of a different kind of purpose, and then when it's gone, it's hard to move forward.
Oh yeah, it's so hard.
Yeah.
So hard. I've been out of honor guard since November of 22, and I miss it every single day.
hopefully you can do it again at your next assignment.
I know. Oh man, I'm gonna be like, yo, put me in.
Tell Sergeant Tomato to write you a letter of recommendation. Just
we're like, yo, can you help me out?
Yeah. So we're going to talk about networking, but I want to first take it back to when I met you at AFSA a year and 4 months ago. And I was really taken aback by you paid your way to be there 3 years in a row.
Oh, yeah.
Right, you remember that?
Yeah, you were really taken back. I was like, this is normal to me. And you're like...
Yeah. You know, to be an airman, paying your own way to go to a conference that could easily be funded was kind of heartbreaking to me. And because you're not the only one, right? There's a lot of people that are like in your situation. And so I was I wanted to make you the Hero Front like member of the year, right? I wanted to create a program where I could somehow get you there. And every year I'd pick a different airman. Yeah,
that'd be dope.
Yeah. We tried that and it didn't work.
No. Backfired real quickly.
So, and I just want to, I've lost friends over that.
Really?
I have lost.
No freaking way.
I swear to you. I reached out to people before AFSA to link up with them and they said, nah, we're good. Because of that situation. Because
you tried to show the world that, like, I don't know, it's messed up. I don't know.
So I have literally lost friends over trying to get you to AFSA. This is your fault. No, I'm just kidding.
It's all right. I'll take the blame. It's fine. I'm just an airman, so you can blame it on me.
So I do want to, for the record, get something out there as to why it backfired. Because a lot of people were like, hey, why did that stop?
Yeah, so I've had people asking me too, and they're like, that is a great idea. Why did it stop?
Yeah, so why it stopped was because there was an unintended side effect, you know, if you would, from that process. So, you know, what I was told was that there was a lot of negative talk online about people not sending you. And that kind of became the focus. It wasn't, let's get her there. It was, why hasn't she ever been there? Who's in charge of her? And it put this negative spotlight on that situation and those people, which then in turn, they said, hey, let's get rid of it.
Yeah, and I mean, I can understand the frustration because, like, new command, new leadership, they may not even know that I've paid 3-4 times in a row, right?
Right.
So they don't know. But the thing is, people are forgetting that it's not the leadership necessarily, but the unit. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Because, like, I don't know if that makes sense. Does it? Kind of? So,
I felt like you just had a new team that just was not, that just caught them off guard, you know?
Yeah.
It just caught them off guard. And unfortunately, that unintended side effect that we did not mean to do at all.
No. We were not trying to be like, hey, you suck.
but you still did get the permissive TDY, though.
Yeah. I mean, I've always gotten the permissive TDY.
Well, at least you've always gotten that. I've known situations where they don't even get that. So,
I mean, I know certain people that had to take their own leave and pay their own way.
Right.
And it's unfortunate because, like, we don't, like, why would you make someone do that for something that's so great? You're like, oh, hey, we need more people. We need all these people on AFSA so we can actually fight for our rights, right? But then you're not willing to send them on a TDY?
And beyond that, that is probably one of the best retention tools there is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And I'm speaking from personal experience. So I went to AFA first.
Yeah, I need to go to that.
Right, which is, it's very similar concept. It's just a bit more, it's bigger. There's a lot more money in it, and it's like actual business is conducted there. All the generals are there. Like, it's a bit more serious. Whereas AFSA is a bit more interpersonal. So they're different, but they are very similar too. And I got to sit next to Chief Bass. That's how I met her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was in the very back at the 12 Outstanding Airmen dinner, which was beautiful. It was amazing. I was in the very back table, and she was at the very back table as well.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew her before she got famous. And we had a great talk that whole night.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. I like
think
her.
that was fate. I think that conversation was destined to happen because I saw the power that she had with making people feel special.
Yeah.
With just talking to them and highlighting their story.
Yeah.
A lot of what I do is based off that talk that night with her.
No, really?
Yeah. That's
Nice.
why I think it was destiny.
Yeah.
And she's always been like family to me in my mind ever since.
Yeah.
But you know what really stood out to me though was you seem to know everyone. I kept looking at your stripes and I'm like, you haven't been here that long. You know, I went to AFA as a tech sergeant, didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
You know, just knew the people I went with from Whiteman.
Yeah.
And that's it. But you seem to know everyone. And, you know, I was hoping we could talk about networking.
Yeah.
Actually, wait a second. How many questions did I ask you?
1.
Oh my God.
You still got 2 more, man.
That went on for a long time.
I know. I definitely think we're going to hit an hour.
So let's...
Maybe over.
Okay, let's make a...
What's the second one?
Second question would be, what attribute for a leader, in your opinion, is the most important? Kind of foundational.
Okay. That's a good question. I think there's a combination of a few of them because, like, you definitely need honesty. But with honesty, you need communication. So you need both of those.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you need to be willing... Ooh, I hit the mic. You need to be willing... willing to try to understand your people. Because if you're trying to lead and you're not going to understand where your people come from, or even try to, you're wasting my time.
Right.
Like, I will lose trust in you within, like, the first month I've met you.
So I hear that a lot,
Yeah.
and I think the smaller force is making that more apparent.
Yeah.
Because when I first joined and the force was much bigger, this was July of 2004 is when I joined, my shop didn't even know my name.
Yeah, exactly.
And they would just make fun of you, talk crap about you. They could not even know they didn't even know who I was. And one of the reasons for that was because there were so many people.
Yeah.
Right?
That's not an excuse, though.
It's not an excuse, but I could see it kind of falling to the wayside a little bit.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Like, you can say that was the reason, but like you've already pointed out, I know a ton of people. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I take the time to see someone for who they are. Definitely. Not for what their rank is, not because they're new. If they're new, I'm going after them. Not in like a bad way.
You're going after them?
Oh yeah, I'm going after them.
What did they do?
Yeah. No. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be upfront. I'm gonna be direct, and I'm going to make sure they understand that they are seen. Because literally, just making someone feel seen saves a life. Like, literally, you don't know what they're going through. There's people that PCS in that are suicidal, who are leaving, who are suicidal. You have no idea. And the ones that you don't know about are the real problem. The ones that aren't talking about it are the ones who actually are going to go through with it. So you have to be very direct on who you see and how you make them feel. Absolutely.
No, I love that. And, you know, with our smaller force, the point I was trying to make, I don't agree with the bigger force thing. I don't agree with that. But I can see it being more of a problem now when we're treating our military like it's the same size as it was 20 years ago. Yeah. Right? And you really have to change your approach when you have a much smaller crew. There needs to be trust, there needs to be communication. Everything that you mentioned kind of gets multiplied.
Yeah, it's like acting like you have a larger force, but you just take... So instead of like... So if you put it in like a point system, say you get 1 point of communication, 1 point of honesty, stuff like that. Now everything's doubled, so it's
Right.
like 2 points of communication, 2 points of honesty. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's it's tough to see. It's frustrating to see when you see a lack of that. And then we ask why we can't retain anyone. It's like, you see it. You see the problems. You know what I mean? And
it's like, we're the problem.
Right.
We are the problem on why we can't retain.
Right.
So it's like,
we didn't look in the mirror. We're the problem, y'all.
yeah, for real.
And only we can fix it.
Yeah, facts.
And I mean, even with the way we advertise and try to recruit is, in my opinion, outdated. Back when I first joined, you would have to go find the information. They would expect you to find the information. They would
like in an AFI?
No, like CCAF or
Oh, see, that's not okay.
like here's our website, you find me. That's how it was when I first joined.
Oh my gosh.
Now it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Now there's so much attention grabbers out there that are stealing our awareness. They have to fight tooth and nail to grab our attention, and not everyone's doing that. And I think that's part of the recruitment side issue.
Okay.
All right, third question.
Yeah, hit me.
What is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear. That's a good question. Why are you coming out with these zingers, man? You're like, pew pew.
I guess, yeah, I guess I was pew pew. Is that how you interpret that?
Like pew pew. All right. Sorry. Biggest fear. I worry a lot about letting people down. I struggle a lot with self-worth, and I put my self-worth into others. So
that's a issue I see with a lot of people.
It isn't a lot of people. I mean, even if they don't talk about it, they probably have it, to be honest.
Right. It's just different. There's just different levels of it.
Yeah.
And the most extreme level of it is called borderline personality disorder. That's the extreme version of that.
Yeah.
And I learned that title through therapy.
Therapy.
So I say my biggest fear, you shared yours, so I'll tell. Well, first of all, can you guess mine? Let's see if you can guess.
It's not letting people down, although that is one of your fears.
Kind of ties into it.
Letting yourself down? No. I wouldn't say that either. Hold on. You said ties into that. Biggest fear. Is it letting someone down?
Ties into it.
I'm the trucker.
It's kind of a, you want me to just tell you, it's kind of a bigger umbrella.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to guess it.
It's rejection.
You know what? I get that. Because that probably fits me better.
There's been times where I go into situations expecting to be rejected, and I do worse. I won't even give it a chance. I'll be like, I suck at this, I'm going to fail. Like, they're going to hate me.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to, sometimes get out of that headspace.
It is. I mean, your mind's a powerful place. And if you don't know how to control it, it won't control you.
Absolutely. There's not many people I let get close to me, too, because I don't... Mm-hmm. The last thing, my nightmare would be I let you know everything about me, and then you're like, you suck, I hate you. I'm not talking to you anymore. So,
that's crazy. My nightmare would be I let you know everything about me, and then you tell everybody else.
Oh, wow, that is different.
Because it's my story to tell, not yours.
Right.
And I absolutely hate... it's actually, people talking about me is one of my biggest triggers. Well, not probably biggest, but it's one of a hefty one.
Right.
Is, because of some of the trauma I've gone through, there was rumors started about me. Mm-hmm. And because of that, when people talk about me, mm-hmm. it throws me into this panic attack.
Yeah. No, I'm not a fan of that either.
Yeah.
And I don't do it.
Yeah.
People try to rope you into it.
Yeah.
Which bothers me because I'm like, well, if you're talking crap about everyone, then when I'm not here, you're talking crap about me.
Yeah.
Right?
If you're not talking about other people, then you're probably not talking about me. But if you're talking about everybody else, you're probably talking about me.
Exactly. So I don't even engage with it, honestly. It's just toxic. Yeah. I don't even mess with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about our biggest fears here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was deep. You had a great Heroes Gauntlet. I almost missed it because I have ADHD. I've missed it so many times with people.
Oh, really? You just forgot to ask questions?
Forgot, yeah.
Oh, man, that's the worst because you're like, I had such good questions.
Right. Okay, so our topics, we're going to go back to this. Our topics are networking, mental health, and resiliency. We're going to start with networking. I spoke a little bit about your networking skills. So my question to you is, why do you value networking, and how has it changed your life?
Networking. So it took me a while to actually really be like, oh yeah, I network really well. I didn't think about that. All I did was like, I see you, I care about you, I'm going to tell you that I care about you, I'm going to tell you that I love you. Whether that makes you feel awkward or not, I'm going to still tell you. I might tell you more than one time. You
could get away with that. As a male master sergeant, I got to be careful with it.
Oh no, I've gotten in trouble before with it. I've gotten in trouble before. As an airman, they're like, yeah, you can't tell me that. And I'm like, oh. Sorry.
I mean, sometimes telling someone you love them triggers them. You know, they got that hard childhood, and they don't know how to take that message.
They don't know what love is.
They're like, whoa, what do you, what, no, get back.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I didn't even think about it networking. I just, I see you for who you are. If you have a good heart, I'm gonna be there for you. If you don't, I'm not gonna be there for you.
So has AFSA been a big part of that, the annual summit?
Like making me be that way?
Yeah, like kind of opening that circle of people that you know.
I would say AFSA has helped me meet people who are in very important positions and very high power. But it has not made me be more networking. That's just me. So
you're saying networking wasn't your goal?
No, I was just like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, I meet people for who they are, and I see them for who they are. I don't see them for a rank. Rank doesn't matter to me at all.
Okay, so for airmen that, let's say, are a little bit more reclusive, a little bit more shy, and they're kind of jealous of, a little bit envious that you know all these people, and they're searching for a way to have more of that in their life.
Yeah.
What would you tell that person?
I've actually had airmen like that. They've been very jealous that I know these people. I've had deep conversations with them and stuff. Honestly, to be direct, you just have to get over it. That's super not compassionate at all.
Just get over it. That's the answer? Sorry, y'all. I thought that just get over it's the answer.
I would say not necessarily get over it. If you need help networking, I would say find someone who has no fear to go network. I've always been very for people, but I was a scared airman. I've been there. Master Sergeant Taylor Jolene. She's the one that brought me to AFSA the very first time. And she's the one that introduced me to people. That's how I met Chief
Murray?
Yeah, Chief Murray, my home dog. He's literally...
Former Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Murray.
Yeah. That man is literally...
Yeah, I saw him come up to you, give you a huge... It was like y'all were old, drinking buddies or something. I'm like, pause. What is happening right now? This is the guy that I had to look at in boot camp memorizing my chain of command.
Oh, really?
Yes. I know his face very well because of that. And then I'm seeing you give him this big hug and just reflecting on old times together. And I'm like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, so he's literally my favorite command chief. No offense to anybody else, but he is, or not command chief, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. Mm-hmm. He is by far, he just sees you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he has a very good way of connecting with people.
Yeah, he doesn't even really have to talk to you. He just sees you.
Yeah, he has an aura about him.
Yeah, he's definitely my military grandpa.
Yeah, I almost 100%. Called him Dad. I was like, Dad.
He's like, what did you say, son? I said, nothing. I got to spend time with all sorts of past Chief Master Sergeants of the Air Force on this last AFSA. That was my favorite part about it, was seeing them interact with each other behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So special to see that. But Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Campanelli is who I connected with the most.
Oh, yeah, he's super cool, too.
Yeah, I always thought he was really suave. You know, he had a nice haircut.
Fair.
Just a distinguished gentleman. And then when I got to finally meet him, man, he's a great guy. Like,
oh yeah,
he was so cool to talk to, and he remembered my name like right away. And it was just a cool experience. So, you know, shout out to them.
Yeah, I know, facts. Like, shout out to all of them. They are fantastic people. I actually met Chief Campanelli also when I met Chief Murray back in 2019 was my first AFSA. And he remembered me when I just went in 23. Really? Yeah.
So as soon as he saw you, he just knew who you were.
Yeah, he already knew me.
Wow.
I was like, oh, cool, what's up?
That's amazing. Okay, so no, you didn't answer this part though.
Oh, my bad.
How it's changed your life, these relationships that you formed at such an early stage in your career.
So I would say I've been through a lot. My career has not been easy at all. I've been at Eglin for 6.5 years, been in service for 7, and I would say about 4.5 of it has been trauma after trauma after trauma, like a lot of pain. I've had units where they were not there for me. In my darkest stages, they were just not there. They probably had good reasons why they weren't there, but they weren't who I needed them to be. And me going to AFSA, I was seen. I felt heard. I felt important. I felt that my position in the military was important, and I was loved. And AFSA definitely saved my life whenever I went. Especially, so 2019 wasn't like that impactful, but when I went back in 2021,
you needed that.
It was indescribable. Like, yeah, literally, I needed it. I was in such a dark place. It's hard to understand trauma when you haven't been through it, or whenever you have not been taught how to lead an airman who has been through that, or being able to talk about your trauma when you're not ready, you know? So it's just, as a whole, like, tornado of just miscommunication, misunderstanding. And it's definitely hard to live that life.
Right.
But going to AFSA, I was seen, and I was heard, and I was important, and I was loved, and I was hugged, and I was, you know, like...
You were welcomed.
Yeah. It was like I was walking in with nothing on me.
And, like, sometimes you go through, you know, life at work getting really looked down upon or disrespected sometimes. Yeah. And you don't even realize it. It's like your world, it's the only world you know. And then when you go to a conference where everyone's like respecting you, hugging you, you know, loving you, you're like, oh crap. Like,
you're like, wow, I'm actually important.
Like, this is how I'm supposed to feel. Not, you know what I mean? Like, now you know the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. It's life-changing. I definitely was in a really, really dark place for a long time. I mean, I still struggle to this day. I'm not perfect, and I'm still trying to heal and trying to work through things. But when you're in that dark valley and you are seen, it's like a freaking spotlight on you. And you're important. And it's not like a spotlight in a negative way. It's a spotlight in like, hey, we see you, and it's okay. Like, it's okay to not be okay.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's a heavy thing.
It is. It absolutely is. Before we go on to our next topic, I do want to give someone a shout out, a mutual friend of ours.
Oh, who's that? Can I guess?
Sure.
Is it Carolyn Phillips?
It is.
Yes! I love her.
I'm so glad you guessed that right. She was going to join us had we had this earlier, remember? Remember she wanted to?
Yeah.
But she's not sitting at this table because she ended up getting orders and she's at a different base now.
Yeah.
The reason I wanted to give her a shout out though is because, for one, I've never seen someone work so hard, make so much change, and completely get zero recognition for it.
She has had like the hardest time ever. She's also been one of the reasons why I'm still breathing today, because she's been there. And she's been in the valley, or the darkest spots, right? Mm-hmm. She's been in the darkest spots and still been there for me.
Wow, that's hard to do.
I know. She's had her own battles, struggling with her own things, her own mental health, and still was there for me.
Wow, that's amazing.
She came over to my house one time. I forget why, but I was like super depressed, and I had like a whole bunch of dirty dishes, and she started cleaning them. She just literally washed all my dishes.
Oh my God.
And I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I've been there. It's okay. Just let me do it." And I was like, "Yes, ma'am."
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Wow. Yeah, she's amazing. She cares more than most people.
Yeah.
The extent of work and care she puts into things is like over 100%. I mean, just puts her heart and soul into everything.
Yeah.
And then it's painful for me to see she on the back end then gets a lot of times no credit for all that work.
Oh yeah, she doesn't get seen at all. She's a backstage crew.
Right, when she should be like the star out front.
Yeah, 100%.
And she helped me too when I first got here. I had a really hard time with a certain individual that I worked with.
Yeah.
Like real hard time. To the point where I was just like hiding in my office, like afraid to say or do anything.
Yeah.
And she brought me into the top 3 for the like she wouldn't let me hide.
Yeah. She's like,
Yeah. As soon as she saw me, she like kept hitting me up and made sure that I went to these meetings. And although like you could consider me like her direct competition for rank in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Like I hate that that's how it is sometimes, but she would still go out of her way to empower me and set me up for success.
Yeah.
Regardless of, her own success.
Yeah.
And, she kind of saved me too, because I didn't know where to turn. And I met her, and then I met a bunch of other people I was able to talk to.
Yeah.
And feel seen and heard. And that's all because she got me out of that office. So I wanted to give her, Sergeant Phillips, the biggest shout out, because you don't
Master Sergeant.
Yes.
Carolyn Phillips.
Yes, because you don't get enough credit, and this is us giving you that spotlight, that credit. You kick ass, and we see you.
She definitely kicks ass. There's hands down. She has probably saved more airmen than she even realizes.
Definitely.
Honestly.
100%.
She puts everybody before her, even when she's in the valley.
Absolutely. Which, again, that is hard to do.
It is hard. I've done it before, and it's
taxing.
It is taxing, especially whenever you have to be that person that's always there for someone. Mm-hmm. When you also need to be there for you.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a perfect segue into mental health and resiliency. Now, you picked those topics. I'm assuming there's this particular story tied to mental health and resiliency that you'd want to speak on.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know how deep I want to get in this. I'll give a little bit of it.
As long as we're not too specific.
Yeah.
With who we're referring to.
Oh, no names. All names out.
Then it should be fine.
Yeah, all names out. So back in 2019, I went through. Man, I have never talked about this in like a public thing.
Holy cow. Are you okay to talk about this?
I'm trying to debate. Hold on. Let me think. What do I want to do? I think I'm going to not be specific on 3 of the events, but I went through 3 very traumatic events.
Okay.
And then at the beginning of 2019. And then right at the very end, I lost my grandma on 12 December, and then 28 December, my grandpa died. So it was like my dad's mom died, and then 2 weeks later, my mom's dad died.
Wow.
So it was like back to back. So because I had so much trauma and I didn't really understand, and that was my first like death experience. I threw myself into alcohol. I was drinking a lot. I was in an environment that encouraged coping with alcohol, so that didn't help me at all.
Not at all.
No. And then let's see. 2020. I talked my friend out of suicide, and a week later he killed himself.
What?
Yeah.
That is brutal.
Yeah, it was very sad because I told him multiple times, like, hey, if you have any issues or anything, please call me. He's always been that person that randomly called me because he trusted me, and I would talk about a suicide. This happened multiple times since we graduated high school. He was a year younger than me. So, yeah, he committed suicide. And then, let's see, that was July, August, beginning of August. And then November, my friend was murdered in Florida.
Was that an airman?
Yeah, he had just got out of the military, and then he was murdered in Destin. I think Destin.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
We were talking tragedy after tragedy stacked on top of trauma that you experienced personally.
Yeah.
It was like you couldn't get a breath.
No, and that's not even the end of it.
Oh, God. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then November, someone that I was super close with, not necessarily dating, but like kind of in a sense. He died in a motorcycle accident right before he was going to move back to Florida. And then 21, my cousin in January was shot and murdered by her husband.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then March, someone I used to play Xbox games with committed suicide. And it was sad because I didn't even know that I was playing games with him to help him.
Like, looking back,
Yeah.
you were kind of a part of his hope to keep going in a way, to escape and spend time with you.
Yeah, it was sad because I had a friend who, him and his brother would play games with their cousin, and their cousin is the one that committed suicide. And they were playing games with him because he was so sad. And he was a police officer. So it's like, it just hits home because it's like my oldest brother's a police officer. And it's just, I don't know, it's sad because they deal with a lot of stuff that you can't really understand. But then, let's see, the same year, my friend died of COVID that I went to church with. Yeah, and then 2022. My gosh, sorry, there's so many deaths that I've had. No, not 2022. 2021, my friend committed suicide in September. So, like, I had, like, I don't know how many people I've named, but within, like, a year and a half, 2 years, I've had 9 deaths. And,
on top of the trauma.
Yeah, on top of my personal trauma.
Right.
So, it's been, like, trauma after trauma after trauma for years.
Yeah.
And it's a lot to process, to be honest.
Like, before we started recording, you alluded to, like, it's really hard to ask for help when you're in the darkest spot of your life. Like, it's, and you kind of feel like no one understands.
Yeah.
I was hoping you could expand on that.
So what I realized is, when I'm in my darkest valley, which is a lot of the time, I don't feel like I am heard or seen. When I reach out, I, one, don't want to bother anyone, which people always tell me, oh, you're not a bother, and I still feel that way. And two, like, you can be in a room full of people who love you and still feel lonely. And I feel like that a lot of the time. it's hard to reach out when you are stuck in your head.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, I mean, I've been there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You know, like there's situations that really put me in a dark place that like there's some people that think so highly of me. I'm almost embarrassed to bring up the problems I'm having, the way I'm feeling. It is hard. And when you're that low, like it really does feel like no one could understand what that feels like.
Yeah, and on top of that, whenever you go and actually explain something and you get dismissed or like that's not important to them or they don't value it or they don't what's it called? What's it called? Validate you. Then you feel like, well, who's gonna care?
Right.
You know?
Like you finally got the courage to say something.
Yeah.
You were ignored or shot down, and then you just lose all faith in confiding in anyone else.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I always work my hardest to make sure people don't ever feel that way from me. Am I perfect? No. I mean, humans, we're not perfect. We're going to fail. But I strive very hard to be able to make people feel like what they're going through is important. And if it's not a huge deal, how can you help them work through it to where it doesn't feel as heavy to them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you're still find yourself in those places.
Dark places? Yeah.
You're still here. You know, you're still living your life. You're still there for people. But for anyone that has repeated, you know, dark valleys that they find themselves in, is there any advice you could give that has helped you personally keep going?
So I hold myself to a very high standard. To me, if I were to end it, that is the worst thing I could ever do. Because one, it's selfish. Because if you think about it, whenever you're in that dark valley, you're only thinking about your problems and yourself. And two, you're impacting. You're a water droplet. When you end your life, you hit that water and it ripples. And you're impacting not only your direct family, not only your maybe spouse, your kids, or your mom and dad, but you're also impacting your aunt, your uncle, cousins, your friends, your friends' friends, your other friends, the people that met you that one time at a party that you may not remember, but they remembered you because you impacted them. You are impacting like thousands of lives that you don't even realize. So for me, I would I choose to keep going, not only because of that, but also because God keeps me going. God has saved me through so many things when I've been in my deepest valley, and I didn't reach out to anybody. God was there, and He helped me through it.
So your faith was a big part of it too.
Oh yeah, my faith and the fact that I know that I will injure people more. Because if I were to die and commit suicide, I'm putting my burdens on someone else. And that's not fair. They're my burdens to carry, no one else's.
Yeah, they're a huge tragedy. It's a huge tragedy when it happens.
Yeah.
I've done 7 active duty funerals through Honor Guard, 5 of which were suicides. And it's a different type of funeral. It's very hard for the family. You could see it. I mean, you could feel it.
Whenever I was doing Honor Guard in 21 to 22, it was crazy. We had so many deaths on Eglin. So many. I mean, we had, I think, I'm just guessing, I think it was like around 10 in like a year or less. And it was like back to back. It was like 3 in one weekend. It was just crazy. And it was like we were sending them off to other bases. We were burying them. And it's like...
Yeah, you had to do all the transfers, I bet.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you're in that dark place and either someone you look up to or someone you know ends their life, that makes it so much harder for you, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, 100%.
you're looking for strength, you're looking for answers, and then your friend who is also struggling took their life.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of play off each other, like when they happen back to back like that. I feel like
Yeah.
it kind of gives people lose more hope.
Yeah, and that's another thing is like if I were to end my life, it could be a domino effect, and then someone else would end their life, someone else would end their life. Like, you don't realize how much you impact someone until you do something so drastic that you can't take it back. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, I choose life because life is the only option I have.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
I know a little bit of what you've been through. You know, we've talked. So I'm super proud of you for just being the person you are, the way you share your story, you know, the way you care about people. You know, you've definitely taken these tragedies and you do your best to serve others with what you've learned.
Yeah, I feel like, why wouldn't you serve? You know? Like, to me, I went to church one time, this was like a year ago, and they asked me why I served. And I said, I mean, you get so many blessings in life, why wouldn't you give back?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, to me, it only makes sense. Why not?
Absolutely. On the topic of mental health and resiliency,
Yeah.
we heard that you're a part of your story. Is there any part of resiliency that you'd like to speak on?
Resiliency,
I can tell you what I see in you.
yeah, please do, because I don't know. I'm just here.
So, I mean, like you said, we're human. We're not always doing the things we should be doing, right? So,
Oh, yeah, no, 100%.
but like when I see you thriving, you know, I feel like the networking is a part of it, whether you see it or not, because the amount of people that you have poured into that now care about you and value you, you just have a lot of people that you can speak to at any time who legitimately care about you, and
Yeah.
it's all the time and energy you've put into these relationships, and from where I'm sitting, that's tremendous for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the resiliency. I mean, if you have that, the stronger your foundation, you know,
Yeah.
the more resilient you'll be when something happens.
That's true. That's very true. People tell me all the time I have like a lot of people that love me and are there for me and I can reach out to at any time. But it's different when you're being told that than believing it, if that makes sense.
So
It's
do you
like
believe it?
I know it, but I don't believe it.
You don't believe it.
No.
Why?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out. I've asked myself that many times, and I don't really know why I don't believe it.
Maybe
Because,
you
like-
don't think you deserve it or are worthy of it.
That's it. Yep.
Isn't that weird? Like those self-imposed things we put on ourselves that we don't even realize.
A lot of the times you'll go through trauma, and the trauma response is not feeling worthy.
Wow. That's
'Cause
just an extra layer of pain.
Yeah, because due to my trauma and like going through therapy and stuff, I've learned that I don't feel worthy enough for love, and I don't feel worthy enough for a lot of things, including friendships, including a lot of things. So,
That
yeah.
makes you reluctant to reach out sometimes.
100%. And on top of that, whenever people don't understand or aren't willing to understand, that also puts another layer on top of me not reaching out. You know what I mean?
Was there ever a time you broke through that self-sabotage, that limitation you put on yourself, and you actually went through with it, and you did reach out?
Yeah, I reach out to, actually, yeah. First time ever. I sat down with my chief and I talked to her about, we had like a out processing meeting, and I talked to her about a lot of things. You know, she knows like what I'm going through and stuff like that. And I was walking out, because this happens to me all the time with conversations where I remember or I think of something that I should have said, and then I'm like, oh man, I didn't say it. Well, this particular time, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back. I turned around. I was like almost in my car.
Holy cow.
I had already walked downstairs out of the
The
building.
meeting was over.
Oh, so over. So over. I turned around, walked back in the building, walked upstairs, went to our office, and I was like, hey, Chief, I need to tell you something.
Wow.
And I was like, I need blah, blah, blah to happen more efficiently. And that was such an empowering moment for me because I've never had the guts to go back and say, hey, this is something that needs to happen. I've texted people like after I walked away from really important conversations, but I've never gone back and been like, no, this is what needs to happen. And for that, I was like, wow. And she took it. Because I was very direct. I'm a direct person, but I was like super direct and honest. And I was like, hey, this is what needs to happen. And she took it and was like, okay.
She took the feedback.
Yeah, and I
What
was
kind
like,
of feedback was it?
it was better leadership.
So you basically brought up leadership and certain examples that you wanted to address, something that you wanted her to focus on. And normally you'd be terrified to bring that up, in person especially.
Well, yeah.
And yet in this situation, you went back. You said, hell no, I'm going to tell her the truth. Because that's ultimately what you're doing. You decided to tell her the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I have had, this was my second conversation, like deep conversation with her I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ask for forgiveness. If she doesn't like it, then, because I was like, this needs to change because the way that things were running for certain situations was not okay. And ultimately, if you're not careful, you're going to cause someone to end a life.
Right.
It was so detrimental. And I only know that because I was going through the pain. And the pain was so painful. And I was like, listen, you in leadership need to be, like top leadership, need to be more involved in situations like what I was going through. So like people like me didn't feel alone.
Right.
Because there's such a huge disconnect, and I believe this in every single unit. There's a huge disconnect from top leadership to airmen. Mm-hmm. There's always one, right? Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate, but airmen aren't speaking up, and top leaders are trusting their other leaders. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it doesn't work out. So I was just like, you know what? I'm here to make a change, and I'm going to make a change.
How did you feel after you got that off your chest?
I was like, wow, I need to do that more often.
It was like a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, I was just honest.
There's so much power in saying it out loud.
Yeah, and
sometimes you can't find the words, but when you do,
yeah,
there's power behind that.
And the best part was being accepted. Like, she took it and was like, you know what? I'm sorry that I wasn't better. And I was like,
what?
I was like, oh, wow, that worked out.
Dang, that's amazing.
Yeah.
No, that's a great story.
My chief is phenomenal. My chief is phenomenal. I love her to death.
Do you want to give her a shout out?
And Chief Sierra?
I mean, you can name drop if it's a shout out. You know what I'm saying? You want to show him some love.
She's absolutely amazing. She's the chief of the 96 FSS right now, and
she's awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's great.
Hands
That's
down.
great to hear.
Yeah.
We're at 56 minutes. You know, we were worried we're going to hit an hour.
You're worried about that? We talk a lot. Come on.
Yeah, we both talk a lot. So my final questions to you as we come to a close here. First question would be, what are your goals for the future? I'm kind of curious, like, because you have all this depth to your personality, and you're so vocal. I'm kind of curious where someone like you wants to end up. Okay, so that's one.
Okay.
And then the last question is, if you have anything on your heart or mind that you just wanted to share before we wrap it up.
Okay, so first one, you're going to need to remember the second one because I'm not going to remember it.
Got it.
So the first one, what was it? I already lost it.
Let's just say, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. So I actually am PCSing to Barksdale to enter a medical evaluation board immediately. So I don't really know what's going to happen. I have thought about my options in and out. If I'm staying in, if they decide to retain me, I ultimately, my main goal is to become a command chief and to be able to impact people to the level where it's like heart to heart, not like, oh hey guys, I'm gonna have this giant mass meeting and meet none of you and then go home. You know, that's not I'm talking like I'm going to impact people to the point where they feel like they can literally walk up to me and give me a hug at any moment.
So basically, you just want to be in a position to care for people more.
Oh yeah, I want to impact.
Yeah.
I want to impact lives. My main goal before I die is to impact thousands, well, millions of lives, if not trillions of lives, to the point where they seek hope every day.
Yeah.
That they see hope every day. Because they've seen someone go through the fire and choose life. Yeah.
That's amazing. Let's say you get separated. What kind of career field are we talking? Like, what are you gonna do?
So I've thought about this a lot. Obviously, my passion is people. That's my purpose and my calling. I also want to do some badass job.
You do?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I want to save lives, like being a firefighter.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I could see you as that.
Yeah, I actually
And you lift and stuff too. Like you could do it.
Yeah, the physical part is easy because I already am strong. So, yeah, so I plan to be a firefighter, and then I don't know if I'm going to do volunteer or like full time, but then I really feel like God is calling me to talk about my story. So, a motivational speaker, and I'm thinking about getting a degree in some kind of like. What is it? The psychology? Like the mind?
Yeah, psychology.
Yeah, I get a degree in that so I can understand it more because I love the way the mind works. It's such a complex place.
It is.
And it's crazy how easily you can get lost in it.
You can go down some serious rabbit holes.
Some very scary ones,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think motivational speaker is where I'm going to be.
There's a lot of fulfillment there for you.
Yeah, it's the most impactful because, I mean, look at, okay, for example, I'll shout out the SEAC, right? He speaks life into the room.
He does.
He's like, oh, hey, what's up?
That when he talks to you, you feel it.
Yeah.
You do.
The first time I met him, he was, gosh, like, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
So I've talked to him on the phone and stuff, and I almost interviewed him, but the trip got canceled, which really stinks. But I did see him before he was the SEAC, and to me this is like fate again, trying to put me in touch with someone. So that same AFA that I went to, that same one where I met Chief Bass, I kept physically bumping into the future SEAC.
No way.
Like, think of how many people are at these conferences. Thousands.
Oh yeah.
Especially AFA.
AFA is like double what AFSA is. Yeah.
And yet, I want to say 3 times we bumped into each other and like knocked each other back. And on the 3rd time, we looked at each other and just laughed. Then, flash forward, they announced the SEAC, and I'm like, what?
You were like, whoa,
that's the dude I bumped into 3 times in one day.
That's insane, dude.
It's fate. I'm telling you, it's fate trying.
I actually had the same situation. So our 20th Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, already met him.
Really?
I'm friends with him on Facebook.
How did that happen?
AFSA. I show up to these things and I meet these super important people. I met him there. He was at the...
Are you talking about Chief Wright?
No.
Who are you talking about?
The 20th. Wait, isn't Chief Joanne Bass the 19th, right?
Yeah.
The 20th.
Oh, you're talking about our selected, the selected one, the new one.
Yes.
Wow, so you already met that person?
Yeah, I've already had like deep conversations with him.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like we've talked.
Of course you have.
Yeah, Oh man, where
He's the command chief of AFMC, so he comes here apparently a lot at Eglin.
Yeah, he's super. Like I've heard very good things about him, and obviously I've met him. But like his leading style is very good. And what was I gonna say? Oh, when I went to the Chief Master Sergeant of the Space Force retirement, the change of responsibility from the first to the second, he was there too, if I'm not mistaken, and I talked to him there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just fate right there.
And I think he was at the retirement dinner for Chief Toberman.
Did you go to that?
Yeah.
Where was that?
And it was either Andrews or the other one.
How did you go to that?
I got invited. Yeah, Chief Toberman invited me to it.
So, yeah, I'm kind of jealous of that, and I'll tell you why. There's a few people who their team has said they can't come on, and he's one of them.
Oh, why not?
I don't know. They don't tell you why.
Oh, they just say no?
They just say no. So
Maybe they
he
were
was
busy.
so excited. He was so excited, and then it was like, it's not happening. So, and I was just like, and then at the last AFSA, I ran into this guy who I recognized, and he recognized me, and he said, "Where do I know you from?" And I said, "You're Chief Toberman's exec."
Yes,
He said,
he's cool.
He said, "Yeah, that is me." I said, "Why did y'all say no? You're not getting off this elevator till you give me an answer." And like, I was kind of semi-joking, but he like froze up, got like really didn't say anything, and then just got off at the next floor. I was like, I was joking, man. Like,
You're like, hey, my bad.
but now that he's retired, I'll try to reach out again.
Oh yeah, you definitely should. He's super cool. I've talked to
He's
Chief
very
Toby
like
all the time.
wise.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's just he has these deep thoughts.
He does have very deep thoughts, and like, I've noticed. I think he's an introvert.
Yeah, I think he said that.
Yeah, because I've noticed. After he's done briefing, like the mass, he seems very exhausted.
Yes. If you're an introvert,
Yeah.
that would totally wipe you out.
Yeah, so like I've tried to talk to him, and it's like he's just really tired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's so cool, relaxed,
He
chill.
is. I've never met anyone like him. I mean, he's very unique.
No, I like him a lot.
I gotta get him on. Gotta get him on Hero Front now that he's a civilian.
Yeah, definitely. And he just
what if
fishing
he's
up
just
life.
like, no, it was my choice. I just don't like it. I'd be like, what? No.
You should.
But I'm friends with Madi Cole. Like,
There we go.
she says she'll be on. She'll join us.
Yeah, I'll join. I'll
Yeah.
keep the conversation going.
We'll just say you're invited, and then he'll probably say yes.
Maybe. He'll be like, oh yeah, I know her. Oh, that reminds me. This is off topic, but the chief, the Chief Master Sergeant of the Space Force, the second one.
Mm-hmm.
He recognized me when I went to Air Force Wounded Warrior.
For real.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then you remember Sergeant Staples?
Mm-hmm.
She was meeting with him to have like a dinner, and I was like, "Yo, ask him if he remembers me." She showed a picture to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I know her. I just saw her."
I'm surprised you weren't at that dinner.
It was in freaking where's she at? Like Greenland?
Oh, never mind.
Trust me, if I could fly up there, I would. But
Yeah, that was. I think was it Iceland or Greenland?
she's at Greenland because it's cold.
She's at Greenland.
Yeah,
God, that's
the
brutal.
freaking desert.
That is brutal environment.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so I did have that second last question for you that you said you'd forget.
Yes. I did forget.
So what I was hoping is if there's anything on your heart or mind, a message to the people who are still listening, who are looking, for something from the heart. That
Yeah.
last thing on your mind that you would like to put out there before we wrap this up.
Well, there's a lot of things I would like to say, but I would say the number one thing is lead with love. That is the biggest thing that I think we fail at. We are such a selfish community that we need to put people first. Take care of you, but remember people are important. You can save a life just by seeing someone, just by making sure they feel seen.
Absolutely.
Yep, lead with
Lead
love.
with love.
And then the second thing is my favorite Bible verse, you don't have to be religious or anything, but it is, perhaps you were created for such a time as this. And that verse has kept me going through a lot of things.
Wow. You have faith that you're meant to be here. This is your story. This is your journey. And you're going to make it work.
Yeah.
You're going to help change lives.
Yeah. You're not here for no reason.
Right.
If you were here, if you had no reason, no purpose, you wouldn't be alive. Period. That's
beautiful. Now, I like things in 3s and 5s. So you mentioned 2. Can you give us one more for 3? For my OCD.
For my OCD. I had a feeling. Third one. Let's see.
Third message to the masses.
Stay peachy.
Stay peachy?
Stay peachy. Let's go.
Stay peachy and let's go.
Yay.
No, I love that. So, Maddie, this has been a long time coming. I felt like I was talking to an old friend. This was not a podcast episode to me. To me, this is just talking to a friend, which are the best episodes.
Yeah, with better, I can hear you better audio.
Right, you can hear me better. But, yeah, ever since I met you, it's like, when you buy a car and then you see that car everywhere?
Yeah.
That's you.
I mean, I just get around, right?
As soon as I met you, after that, I saw you everywhere. But that's what I love about you. Because, for me, I was an alcoholic. I was very depressed, didn't want to live anymore. And my confidence was so low that there's no way I could do what you're doing. There's no way. It took me, I'd say, about at least 15 years to get to that point where I'm comfortable, like having those relationships with people to the extent that you are. And so I really admire that about you because you're showing other people it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, what I do, because I have that fear too. I do. It may not look like it, but I do. And the thing is, you have to just jump. Stop thinking about what they're going to think about you. They don't know you. Right. Who cares if they like you or not? I've met people where they did not like me at all. I've met people where they're jealous immediately when they met me. It doesn't matter what they think, as long as you are doing it for the right purpose.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just jump.
Just jump. Just get right into it.
Yeah. Don't think. Just jump.
Don't think. Just do. That's on my
Nike.
shirt. I sell that shirt.
Do you really?
No, don't think, just do is a quote Maverick has.
Oh.
And so I have a Hero Front shirt. It's on my website, herofrontpodcast.com. You go to store. It's the one I was selling to help send you to AFSA that I got in trouble for.
Yo, I never got one of those.
You never even got the shirt that I got in trouble for? My God.
Yeah, I know. You did get in trouble. That was funny. I was like, oh no, this shit's going wild.
I've never had such pure intentions and had it burn down the way it did. I've never experienced that in my life. I've created problems that burn down like that, but I have never done something out of love that had such a harsh reaction ever.
That was like full forest fire, just
0 to 100.
It was like when someone took a torch, just freaking torched the whole place down.
I came into work that day and the shirt's like my office now.
And you're like,
I was
shit.
I was like, this must be a good thing, right? Like, this got to be good news. And they're like, what have you done, you psycho? Are you out of your mind?
And you're like,
I was just trying to help a friend.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine how much anxiety you had.
It was pretty high. But I'll tell you, once I'm retired, I am getting you to AFSA. Because at that point, no one can stop me.
I mean, if I'm still active duty, we'll see.
You could be a civilian.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I mean, why not?
Good point.
You know the whole staff. Like, I'll just send you as a civilian. We'll still get you there.
That is true. That's funny.
But yes, thank you so much for having this talk with me before you head out. I know you're about to leave, embark on this next chapter of your life. And so we got to talk to you right before that. So super proud of you, Maddie. absolutely love you to death. You're an incredible person. You bring so much hope to so many people, even me. I've had dark times, and I'm like, and just seeing you get, knowing what you've been through and seeing how you live your life has helped me tremendously. I don't tell you about my dark places, but I've had them, trust me.
Yeah.
And so you're just a beacon of hope for so many with sharing your story. And I just want to thank you for coming on.
No problem, boss. You got it, fam.
Pew, pew, pew.
Pew, pew, pew.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This was the hero's journey of Madi Cole, and we're out.
Deuces.